Hello and welcome to the first of what we hope is several PAC Kid Flashbacks, where we visit a student that has been a PAC Kid spotlight back when they were a student. And it seemed just as well to start off with our very first PAC Kid spotlight. This is Mr. Sean Mize.
Hello.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, you want to make me feel old.
Well, when did you graduate? You can't feel any older than me. When did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 2005, so I guess it would have been like '04.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what school did you go to?
North Hardin High School.
And who was your drama coach or music teacher at that time?
Honestly, you, because you and Mr. Zagar, Andy Zagar, were pretty much the only drama that I had, because my North Hardin had a drama department, but it wasn't very involved. So I kind of just did a lot of PAC stuff. PAC was kind of my first jump into it.
Gotcha. I think you'd be really surprised and proud to see what's been happening at North Hardin in the time since you left it, that both of those programs have really, really grown. Well, you mentioned Mr. Zagar. Just share just a little bit about your experience with him and how you, because he was not your teacher there at North Hardin. How did you get to work with him?
My first show with Youth Theater of Hardin County was Hello Dolly. And I just on a whim auditioned after a little shot because of you, because you told me to audition. So I auditioned and I got a lead. So, yeah, and he directed that. So that's kind of where I met him. And then he just became one of my mentors along with you. So
sorry about that.
No, it went well. You guys both helped me a lot.
I'm all to blame. It's all my fault. Why did you get involved in theater? What was the pull other than me pushing you to go do things? Why did you continue to do it? What was it that about performing or being with people that performed, did it feel some need for you?
I mean, definitely, because I always grew up this really eccentric kid, attention type of child, and I never really had an outlet of where to put that. So then when theater kind of popped up, because before the PAC, there was little community theaters here and there, but there wasn't anything like that. And when that kind of just came about, it was just kind of like destiny type of thing. And it really kind of gave me an outlet to really express who I am and kind of also figure out who I am, because I used to kind of stifle my energy and my personality a little bit when I was around people, because they weren't theater people. So when I found more theater people, I just kind of flourished into what you see before you. So
well, and I think about what you're saying, and I look back to when I was in youth theater as a student, and I very much look back now, even though I had a great choral teacher and my dad was the art teacher at North Hardin, where I also graduated much longer ago than when you did. But high school was the thing that I had to survive in order to do youth theater every summer, because those were my people.
Yeah.
They got it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree. Before, well, somewhat, because I feel in high school, people didn't really know who the true me was, because I was holding back so much about who I was. And then when I found youth theater and the PAC and everything and started meeting those people, I went back to school the next year, and even my teachers commented about how different I was and how more grounded I was and how more confident I was in myself. And then I wouldn't say I was popular, but I had friends and people knew who I was, and I won most dramatic my senior year. So not a shock there.
I think it's when you are confident with who you are and what you're doing, people are attracted to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what are you doing these days?
So after college, I went to Wright State, and then for a few years. And then I was given a scholarship at Northern Kentucky. So then I switched to Northern Kentucky University, where I graduated. And then I moved to New York City for a little bit and did that whole fun time, and it was great. And then I decided that I wanted to be closer back to my family, which, I mean, my family's all from here, so moved back. But I live in Cincinnati, Ohio now, so I'm not like in Hardin County, but I'm close enough to visit. I'm actually I kind of do theater for fun now. Like I didn't turn it into like a career per se, but like I still have that artistic side of me and I still get to express it. I've directed some things, choreographed, costume designed some shows, as well as being in things. But I do theater as much as I can. Not right now during all of this, but yeah. So I do theater, and I'm in sales, which honestly, theater and acting, that's sales. I literally act every day of my life.
Well, and I think there's a lot to be said. You know, theater is a very tough profession that, you know, if we all went into theater, we'd all be standing on the street corner, because, I mean, it's a very difficult profession. So there's a lot to be said for pursuing theater as a hobby, pursuing theater as a side gig. There's a lot of therapy from, you know, getting away from the stress of your normal day to become somebody else, you know, in a theater production. I think that's at the root of a lot of community theater people. It helps them get through the grind.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, because when I moved back from New York, it wasn't necessarily like the best time of my life. It was actually, because I didn't really choose to move back. I kind of had to move back, and it was sad, and I was in a really dark place or whatever, but I didn't do any theatrical stuff when I lived in New York, really. So moving back and being able to jump back into that and be back with my people, like, it brought me back to life pretty much. So I really kind of rediscovered who I was, and then just discovered that I really just want to do this for fun, and which, no shame in that. It was a great time. And Cincinnati is insane when it comes to theaters. We have like over 50 theatrical groups up here, community theater groups. It's just a pool of extremely talented people up here that like is insane. Like, you would not think that, and it's crazy here. So you have a lot of people that do it as a hobby, but they treat it like professional, which is great.
Right. So, and that was always the kind of thing that I was looking to do when with what is now called the PAC Pro-Am Productions, which wasn't called that when you were involved, but because we have a really strong community theater group and we have a really strong youth theater group. So I was really trying to find that middle ground. So what is the thing that we can add that the other groups are busy doing and can't fulfill? And we had this professional space, so it was really trying to bring a professional ethic to things. So. But and where do you do sales?
I work for Verizon Wireless right now, so I'm in wireless sales. So,
and how long have you been with them?
It's not been long. Before that, I was with AT&T for a number of years and was a manager with them, but I left them and hopped on the Verizon train. So,
and
carrier hopper.
Sure. Well, and I'm with Sprint, which is now T-Mobile, and
it's
everything
constantly changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about where theater fits in your life now. We talked a little bit about where performing arts fit into your life when you were a student. One of the things that I heard once on NPR, which really, really struck a chord with me, is, and I really find it proves true for the arts for me anyway, is that, you know, we are born into a biological family.
Yeah.
And our family loves us. We love them. We've grown up with them, and they are our blood. You know, we treasure the times that we have with our biological family. But all of us at one point in time, if we're really, truly fortunate, we discover another family that I like to call our logical family, the family of people that share the same dreams, the same goals, that support us, that we support. And just from the little bit you've shared, that seems to be kind of what you found through theater.
Yeah. I mean, everybody here is a very close-knit group and everything. And I'm not 100% close to like my friends from high school. Like I don't really see anybody from high school really, but all of my friends that I do see that I still communicate with like daily, they all came from theater or as a result of theater. Like I have a really good friend who was best friends with a girl I did shows with, and now we're best friends. So everything is kind of led from theater, and that's kind of been the core of every relationship that I've had has been that. So I definitely agree with you that you find these chosen families that are just as important. And that's kind of Cincinnati's theater scene.
Why is the PAC important to you, to our community? What would you say to someone if they asked you that question?
I mean, the arts in general are insanely important, and they don't get as much recognition for what they can do for people. But even just giving people a home to express themselves, to become artistic, to view a side of themselves that they might not know even exists, or something that they've been hiding or stifling or something, like just being able to express themselves freely. Like that's kind of what I always saw the PAC as. And it really led me through my entire life and has been through everything. And then beyond that too, like it is an amazing space. Like I still tell people that is like the best theater that I've ever worked in. And they're like, oh, where is it? And I'm like, it's in between Radcliffe and Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And they're like, really? And I'm like, it's amazing. And I've worked in professional spaces where Broadway shows are put on, and I still think the PAC is the best theater space I've ever been in. So that aspect is fantastic, and just some place where people can finally express themselves. And you have so many artistic people in Hardin County and the surrounding areas. Without the PAC, like they wouldn't really be able to find a place to do it, and to do it at that caliber, which is very important.
I on behalf of everybody at the PAC, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your time too.
North Hardin particularly, I mean, it's definitely changed, and I've seen a lot of their improvements, like definitely when it comes to drama and the arts and everything like that. But when I was in high school, it was pretty much band and sports. So like I never really had a place. I was in band, I was in marching band, and then
I forgot about
theater. I was in marching band, but
what instrument did you play?
I played trumpet for 8 years. So I still get to, I played it in a show once too. I was in The Wedding Singer, and I played George, and I got to play trumpet.
You never know. Special skills.
Yeah.
Put it at the
they
bottom
came
of
up
the
and they were
resume.
like, can you play anything? And I was like, trumpet. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, I still have a trumpet. And they were like, okay. So, it didn't sound great, but I played it. So. He wasn't supposed to be good at it. So that's all that matters.
I don't know. So I don't know when we'll be back. I just know that when we can all gather together again, we're all going to have stories to share. And that at its heart is what theater is about, the arts in general. So I know we'll all be okay. It's just getting through this tunnel now.
I said that to my friend too. I was like, I know it's like been a really rough, like 4 years, not to get political, but it's been a rough few years here, and definitely now. And I'm like, but just think about the art that's going to come from this, because good art always comes from really bad things. Like there's going to be a lot of plays and shows and musicals that tie into all of this, and it's going to be fantastic. So I'm excited about that. And it's just weird too, because theater people are always very touchy-feely and close-knit and hugging. And I'm like, God, could you imagine trying to do a theater show right now and being like, I can't be a theater person right now.
It's very interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to let you go, but it sure is good to see and talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Okay.
All right. I miss you.
Bye. Miss you too. Bye.